Hello. Welcome to a live stream. Who wants to die? Die, 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 die. Die, die. Oh, I should be like Elvis. Hey, let me play this. Yeah, yeah. Kill! Kill! Hello. So should I wear this the whole live stream? Should I be Elvis? Hey, how you doing? What's going on down there, everybody? Hi, hello. Welcome! Hey Gary, welcome. Kill those keys. Yeah, bad chords. This is my new buddy, Axe. He's a new guitar player in the band. Yes, he plays really nicely with everybody. Well, just don't get him mad, you know, then Oh my gosh. Okay, well, welcome to the insanity. It's almost Halloween. The next live stream will be after Halloween. So if I'm going to show any, it's probably got to be now. So I did get dressed up. Yeah, big effort, man. Let me tell you. Hi. Oh my gosh. So there is so much to cover today. There's some amazing things that have happened this last week for Unify that I'm really excited about. Distortion is one of those effects that is really important and can do some really cool, all sorts of unique things. And I've talked with Shane, and I was like, kind of like one of the effects that I wish was a little more beefed up was our distortion effect. And he agreed, and we talked about what we could do, and he did it. So I will be showing you what he did. There's also some other things going on. There's two new plugins. Well, they're not new. They're actually old, but they're free. That are interesting that I'm going to show you. Let's start with this. As actually init this, we're going to call up actually Omnisphere within here. Oh, Omnisphere, how much we love you. Omnisphere, right, here we go. I had a customer question to start with. So let's start with that. Let me get this a little bit closer for fidelity's sake. Try not to knock over my homemade iced mocha that I like to make. If you want to make one of these, it's like 3 or 4 spoonfuls of let's see here. I need to reply to something really quick. Oh, let's see here. So, the customer question was this. Let me find it so I can read it to you. It basically had to do with colors for Keyscape. So we're going to go there first. We're going to go all over the place in this, so just get ready. I recently purchased, among other libraries, colors. I love it. One personal issue I have with the Keyscape library is the pedal noise. Unfortunately, the pedal noise seems to take away from one of my favorite sounds in the colors library. So let's go over here to colors. Colors for Keyscape. And his favorite sound is the wash, the 8-foot wash, which is a really nice... But it has some noise in it, the damper noise and pedal noise. Let's see if I turn it really loud. It's not that loud, but if you're playing it in a, you know, all of that. So just so you know, and this is the case. Oh, 1 second here, please. I'm sorry. So right here is a little arrow button you can push, which takes you to parameters of the sound. There's more than one set of samples playing. So what you have here is you have the level here and the pedal noise volumes. And if you want, you can actually save some CPU memory by actually removing these samples from playing. Here's all the release sample sets that are inside of Omnisphere. You probably can't see all the way to the full screen because I have it kind of screen limited, but the very, very top, it says no sound sources. And so by doing that, there's no longer sound sources. So you could do that. I think the thing he was talking about was the pedal noise, which is right here. So you can turn that down. And if you turn off apply effects, that should also remove it. So it's even a little bit more CPU efficient. I believe, I don't know. I'm not a spokesperson for Omnisphere and Spectrasonics, so it's not my job to tell you exactly how that works because I'm not exactly sure how that works. They haven't shared that information that I've seen. But if you wanted to, let's get rid of the effects. So if you go over here and turn off the pedal volume, there's no more pedal noise. So if you want to adjust the volume, this also goes for if you go to the Trillion libraries. Like if you go to the Trillion, let's see, the Trillion library here. If you go to some of the bass instruments, like all of these, even like the staccatos especially and stuff, have released samples and right? If you go to Omnisphere and click this, you can get rid of all of the after not just playing the straight sample. these are staccatos. If you go to sustains and you go to these controls and set this up, then you will have it where it sustains without any release noises. Now by doing this, by having no release sound sources, the envelopes will pop up. So you want to go over here and close this and go to the release. And now you have a more simplified map, right? It's not playing the release samples, it's not playing noises, all that stuff. And sometimes you want that. You don't want all the extra stuff. Depends on what you're doing in your productions, you know? So it's good to know about that if you don't know about that. So let's see here. Hey, Jim. I can't be here. We should be working on Unify. Well, it's Shane that's doing the hard work on the coding and stuff. And he deserves breaks, right? Especially for something like today, because we have some really cool stuff to show you. So that's the release samples inside of Omnisphere and the release noises and how to get to them. They are found through the little magnifying glass right here. What's also fun is you can put the release of something else, like how about a clavichord? Or piano, or you get to some of these other things. If you have all the libraries, and then get released, we need to have the release be longer so we can hear it. So you can get all sorts of other alternative, you can do really creative things. I've heard some things on some tracks before where I'm like, I'm pretty sure what they did is they've gone to these different sets of release samples and put like piano release samples. Because release samples means when you take your, basically MIDI is two events. Well, there's also velocity and stuff, but there's a note on, there's a note off. With a more complex sampler, which is an engine that Omnisphere has built in it, a complex sampling engine, one of the things it can do is when it gets a note off, it plays a different set of samples. So you're hearing piano on the note offs. So you can get into some crazy, crazy things with that kind of stuff. Some instruments also have over here, as you can see, different pickup volumes and stuff. There's sometimes, I don't know how this works exactly. I think there's some interactivity with sustain pedals on some of this. But you can do a direct pickup versus the Ampeg. So if you want to do some crazy stuff, that's one place to go. In the future, the sampler in Unify will support release samples, stuff like that will come in the future for sure. So that's how that works. So there's that, okay? One. Oh, also I wanted to point out, a year ago, we did the Boom Box library. Remember that? And we got a lot of you guys involved in making patches and made all sorts of cool stuff. And I just want to point out, since it's Halloween time, because of all the other stuff going on, I didn't do any like involvement libraries. But there's all sorts of really cool if If you need scary sounds for Halloween, don't look any further than... I went through and I organized all the hits, whether they're tonal or atonal. There's all sorts of sweeps and transitions and noises, and these are all tempo synced. So you could say one major, granular, going down, going up. All these things are here to play with. Right? So don't forget about this library. It's a very cool library. Right? There's also multis for this library, which was combining all sorts of things. Right? So this library is right here. Let me go to products. There's no new samples in this library. There is a bonus library. Oh. Right? Here we go. And there were demo songs for it and stuff like that. There's also the Boombox bonus, which is, I think, the library that I got everybody involved in making patches for, remember? I think, let's see, let's go find out. So if we go here to the patches, hit number 1, and go Boombox bonus. Yeah, these are all from different people, right? Oh, that didn't work right. Hello? All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Let's do this. Let's just call up Omnisphere straight. I don't know why it was doing weird things. We will check that out in a minute. So this is Boombox, and I just wanted to show quickly that it comes with a bonus library made by a lot of you guys in the Guru Nation. So that again, these don't require any additional new samples because it's all sounds from inside of Omnisphere. And if you remember, I think I have it here. Bob Didi's did Carousel. This was incredible. Oh, I gotta do, hold on a sec. Let me go over here to system preferences to sound. And if I tell sound to be this, then this should play. Yeah. So this was this incredible piece using this library that Bob Didi's did last year. It's kind of a mix of like, it's like, remember Banjo and Tooie? What was the name? Banjo and Tatooine, or whatever his name was. They were rare creatures created for Nintendo games, and I used to love to play those with my daughter back in the day. So it's kind of like that, but it's also like, you know, scary, but in a cute way. Anyway, so that library is available for purchase. I wanted to point that out. Also, there's a crazy sale going on until November 5th in Boutique. I never get this right, so I just searched it this way. They have a bundle sale going on right now, 88% off for both Stutter Edit and BreakTweaker, which is, last year I think it was $49 just for BreakTweaker. This year they're throwing in Stutter Edit. So they want everybody to own these. They're really interesting plugins. Stutter Edit does all this really cool manipulation and chopping and glitchy things to any audio source that you run through it. And BreakTweaker is this really, really creative. We've done 3 libraries for it. Plugin. And so I'll show that to you for a minute. If you go up here to their main libraries, these are the ones that come with it. There's no organizational layout to it. They have it following tempos. Oh. Let's see if I save. Okay, we're a little bit faster. Please, faster. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to fix my tempo thing. I've got something weird happening over here. So 1 second. It's under the edit page to... I love that they hid all the tempo stuff. Tempo, there it is. Show tempo list, delete. Get out of here. So just say 135. So the factory libraries, there's some creative stuff in here, but the organization is really hard to follow and it's different from groove to groove. Right? So when we started doing the libraries and we did 3, the main thing we decided was to make it a layout that made sense and then use it for all of the grooves. So whatever you call up, when you call up something, you have a main groove. Let me get show MIDI here so you can see what's going on. So C is always the main groove. D is an alternate groove. C sharp is always the groove without weird elements. It's just a groove. Oh, except for this. Ryland didn't follow the rules on this one. Let me get to one here that's okay, and then D sharp, E, and F are fills. Right? And then breakdowns. And I didn't follow the rules on that one either. Oh my goodness. Well, we did better on the rules with the other libraries. So this was a breakdown without snares. Here's a breakdown without kicks. Just the high energy stuff. And then a snare. So we have 3 libraries. There's Urban, which is all NATO feels. Did I do any in here? I did some in here too, yes. So NATO feels and myself collaborated on this one. OMG is one where there's 4 different people that provided their own samples and they did the grooves using their samples. Mega Macho Drums is using the samples from Mega Macho Drums, my drum kits for Contact. And then the people that were involved in the project used those samples to make up all sorts of styles. Now, we just had a nice audio here. This is a CPU heavy plugin at times, and you'll see things that say CPU. That means watch your processor. Maybe it's not an issue for some of you with newer computers, but just be aware. It was at the time for everybody. EX means it's using samples from expansion packs. So you need to have, there's documentation in the README to get the EXs to work. There's certain sound packs you need to have loaded in it. But these 3 libraries, I have them on a bundle sale right now at yours truly's website, pluginguru.com. 3 libraries for BreakTweaker for $59. Normally it's like $133, but you can get all 3. You can also buy them independently at $23 each. So that's really good savings for Mega Macho Drums and OMG Drums. Super Macho Drums is a $39 library, so it's some saving, but that's a newer library, so it doesn't have quite the deep cut to it. But these have all sorts of really cool and again, C sharp will be just the groove by itself. Can you see the keys? I'm just realizing I might have had this set up so you can't see. Oh, good, you can. Okay, so be aware of these. Also, we have these set up so that they're following the internal clock of BreakTweaker for all the grooves. We made a decision to do that so that when you call these up, if it's supposed to be drum and bass, it's at the right tempo. If you have your tempo with some slow tempo, even 135 isn't going to work for the drum and bass type of a presets and some of the more crazy dubstep and things that we did. You know, if the tempo of your song is like 100 beats per minute, it's a whole different vibe. So you need to hit the sync button in order for it to follow the tempo of your DAW. And then you can take something that was designed for 158 beats per minute and use it for 100 beats per minute. And now you can start using it for a chill track. Right? There's ways to do stuff where you can take rhythm. A lot of times rhythm, one genre to another is just basically the same principle of rhythm, but slower or faster. Different sounds are used quite often, but it's fun to blur the lines. Right? Tempo alone can make a big difference. So BreakTweaker is a fun plugin. It's really easy to go in here and double click and add and make your own groove. Let's make it a 4 in the 4 groove. Right? And the next note. Okay, so I want you just to be aware of the sale that's going on for BreakTweaker and Stutter Edit, and the sale that I decided to run at the same time since I saw that sale going on the 3 libraries that I've released. So that is updates on those guys. Let's do this. Let's call up Unify. Come here, Unify, my buddy. Let's shrink it down so it fits on the screen. And make sure we're looking good over here. So we'll move over to here. And up a little. And there. Okay. So we have some advances that are pretty cool for Unify. For one thing, then I'm going to show you the free plugins in a minute once we get going, but check this out. So one of the things that's unique with Unify that we have done that is spec-wise is, oh, and by the way, I'm going to use this. I have a new layer preset I made, which has velocity sensitivity, and so I can quickly say, and it's already programmed out. Okay, so we can say add MIDI effects now, and check this out. It adds one MIDI effect. And you go over here and you say, I want to use that MIDI effect. And if I want, there's a couple of cool, unique things. Number one, I could say add a new layer. Let's say, let's have JX10. And I could say, there's 2 things I could do. Number one, I could say, have this go to MIDI effect 1. And now you can't do this with most plugins where you have one track. I guess you can. You can have multiple ends going into separate stems. Like one track is the MIDI effect. And I guess if you set other audio channels, here it's just going like that. Now I have both of them. Oh, why are you doing that? We are in beta, so. But the other thing I could do is I could go over here and I say, no, I want to use another MIDI effect, and let's have this be doing an ARP techno, and let's have this one play that one. So now I have 2 instruments and 2 MIDI effects. Well, that was where we stopped, was 2 MIDI effects. But I got to thinking about it, and I'm getting airwave involved. And I can see it's wanting to have more arpeggiator parts going than this. So we now have unlimited MIDI effects. So if I keep saying add MIDI effects, I am adding additional MIDI effects. I could have 4 different synths playing 4 different MIDI effects, which is just super, super cool. And then there's this show and hide, so you can hide it to make it be condensed, but so I'm trying to find ways to separate Unify from everybody else. I want to make sure it's really clear what we can do that other things can't at the moment. And one of them is use unlimited. If I say add another MIDI effect, boom, it adds another MIDI effect. And I can keep going as many MIDI effects as I want. Each one of these could be Cthulhu, could be Captain Chords, could be numerology, could be Cream, could be the Blue ARP, which comes inside of, it's one that's included, GPL license approved. We got permission to include it. Arpeggiator. So it's really cool that we can do that and add as many unlimited instruments as you want as well. So that is a really big, cool new thing that we have. If I just add another, let's say, go layer. Let's do it this way, where I say add instrument, and let's say VMAX. But this time I'm going to have this be an attack. And let's have it be verby. And let's have this go to MIDI 3 and right? So that's pretty cool. So unlimited MIDI effects are what we're going to do. It was one of these things I was thinking about doing in a future update, but I said, dude, we need to like think of stuff that's cool that Unify can do that other guys can't do. And this is definitely one area that I think is going to grow and do all sorts of crazy things, right? So we now have the ability, you can save it in this state like this and it will come back hidden or not and showing and all that kind of stuff. So that's really exciting. The other place that actually took more time on Shane's behalf is this. The distortion. I mentioned this at the beginning. The distortion was one place where it was cool. Let's see if I go over here and use our built-in distortion just to show you what we have done. This is Unify's distortion, and you have drive. And you have different curves. And they kind of had a similar tonality, right? Quantize was cool because it's like a bit res. But we talked about adding this cool velocity curve envelope, this keyboard, this ability. I was like, we have that. That'd be really cool as a lookup table for the distortion. And so he's like, you're right, let's do it. So we now have this. It's right now it's just in a beta state. We haven't gotten it skinned quite right yet. But check this out. We have the ability now. Let's turn this all off. To open up so I'm using a Mega Magic guitar, the Strat. It's a single sample. But running it through the distortion, right? So that alone is really cool. And I love a distortion where you have a filter at the input. Well, we have like a mega filter on the input. So I can go over here. Let's use something a little bit brighter. Like let's go to Mega Magic Guitars 1, which has like the Martin, which is a brighter steel string guitar, right? So I can now use low pass filtering with resonance. So you just a little crispy. Right? The other place it's important to have filtering is at the output. So we now have with resonance, my friends. Isn't that cool? Shane, you rocked your butt off, man. This is the coolest. And then it gets even sweeter than that because I had created and I made some more and I can see this being something I can do in the future even more radically, is I made a whole bunch in the noise verb. I think I have it loading a plastic bag right now. So first of all, you could put something weird like all these really cool drops. And that's just the effect. Right? But you can have the dry as well. But I had created for Mega Macho Drums and Super Macho Drums some amp cabinet impulse responses. These are super short samples of distortion, and you just run the sound through it, and all of a sudden you have an amp cabinet simulator. So these guys work really well together. For distortion. So we have incredible places we can go with distortion, both for guitars the original samples. I'm gonna dive. Is an acoustic guitar. But with this distortion, and if you go and you put synths through this, like if you go to Del Norte, these guys. And then you go and you have, let's say, the it's just disgusting. And then the other thing that's crazy, let me see what you guys are saying about this. Oh, how you can, oh yeah. Now, well, okay, so we will be able to save presets right here. And inside of the Unify universe, when you save a preset, it will show up in a list like this. So you can have all sorts of variable fuzziness to distortion to round to stuff. Could, for example, a contact instrument be run through these? Yes. So that's where it gets really fun. These effects that are built in, any plugin could be replaced here instead of this Guru sampler. So all of the, I have like 500 plugins here. So I could be using anything. I could be using Contact. I could be using anything you see here, run through this. And the other thing that's crazy is, check this out. So this distortion, with all this filtering and all this crazy flexible capability, is going to be built into our delay. Because right now, all we have is this, which is original distortion. And Shane is in the process of adding that right now. So pretty soon you will have this distortion. And let me explain one thing. The one place that we have not totally sussed out. We have done some of the work in that we have these knobs, and you can say linked parameters, and from here I can access any instrument and any effect and any parameter. And I could set it up so that I could go to number one, the distortion, to the frequency, right? And now at the same time, I could be also showing that I could add something else that's going to that instrument. And let's go to the plugin and let's change pitch. So we say just oscillator 1 coarse. So now it's... So I am changing things in Guru Sampler. I am changing things in distortion. I could say I also wanted to change something inside of the delay, like feedback or something like that. So as I brought this up, maybe the feedback, or let's just say, yeah, or the mix. Let's have it increase the mix. So we'll have the mix, so it starts about like here. Right? So my concept, what we will be adding not too long after we release this plugin, is we're going to add a new place down here for modulation, because I want to modulate all the plugins together. Each synthesizer that you buy has modulation for itself, but this will be an area where you're going to have a unique type of a modulation. I'm not going to give a lot of details because we're still working on it, but it's not here yet because it's really huge and it's a lot of work to develop, and we have to just get this out first. But there will be something coming where we can be changing dynamically with something. They're not going to be called LFOs and envelopes. I have another concept that we're introducing that will be able to change parameters in all of the synthesizers and all of the plugins that are loaded at the same time. So I want to keep this concept of being able to control and put everything together. That continues with modulation, but that's something that's coming in a future update because it's a big thing, and we just have to get this out with it is. We have enough that we can definitely get all sorts of really cool things happening and have... I've been making pads, been making vocal things this week, so... So it's so exciting. Here, check this out. This is using one of the samples from Creature. Oops. Yeah. Let's see, that's not there. So that is kind of the extent of the Unify update. We will be getting the next round of beta out soon for those of you that are helping us test. Because we still have, as you can see, places where we're still in beta. There's a few things still to catch and fix and all that kind of stuff. And then, okay, so let's go to the last segment, which is free effects. There's 2 free effects that are available. One of them is really easy to work with, and one of them is not that hard to work with, but you have to use iLock and go through, I'll explain why they're doing it. So let's say, the first new effect is from PSP Audio, and it's not a new effect. Let's see, let's go down here so we see it this way. PSP Audio, where it's, let's do this. I know I've scanned it, so I just need to go to my plugin list for all effects and say piano. And PSP piano verb, add that, save, and I don't know why it didn't show up in the first place. It should have, because when you go to PSP AudioWare, oh, there it is. Maybe it was there, I just didn't see it. They've updated this because they have a patch browser that they've incorporated. So this is available for free, piano verb, and it's got some cool capabilities. Let me get up PSP piano verb. It's pspaudio.net, I believe is it .com? pspaudio.com, and plugins, and down here at the, where is it at? Here's their website. Hello. PSP Piano Verb free. They do have Piano Verb 2 now. Interesting. And I think 2 is one you would buy now. PSP Piano Verb 2 is $26.95 on sale. But the Piano Verb 1, which has been updated, is still free. So you can get this, is free and available for all. And so you can download it. It's pretty easy to install. There's no serial number. What's cool is it has these strings. So the tuning is based on the harmonic resonance of open string, like a piano. Like if you hold down the sustain pedal on a piano and you clap, you'll hear a sound very similar to that. Especially there's no dampening in a long time and you mix it heavy, you know? But here you can transpose it. If we were to take this and let's have it instead be an attack. So you just hear one of the attacks. You can start to hear more. Right? One cool thing they did is that you can have the decay time and use bypass, and it doesn't mute the reverb. Which is cool. You can do stuff like that with it. So Piano Verb is a really cool, unique reverb. You can get where it doesn't have this string. It's make nice little rooms. Right? So that is one of the free effects from pspaudioware.com. Number 2 is a little more involved. You have to go to, is it audioplugindeals.com. Let me show you this. This is basically, in my opinion, a grab for a whole bunch of people's email addresses, which, you know, they're welcome to do that. They want you to give, you have to log in to Audio Plugin Deals, and then you also have to plug into Eventide and register there. So you're registering at 2 places to give them your email address in return for Quadravox. And Quadravox is a 4-voice it's really unique. There's for sure. So if we go to Eventide, Quadravox, and let me bypass it for a second and get just a simple sine wave. So Unify standard, basic waveforms, sine. Okay, so here's a sine wave, and here's a sine wave through Quadvox. So it's 4 different pitch taps. And you can do other cool things with it, of course. They have, you know, Richard Devine's made weird stuff. There's pitch shifters, sequences. So you can do all sorts of different things with it. So it's pretty cool for just a simple rhythm and delay. If you say growing so it's great fidelity. And you go like this to change the timing values. So if you want each one to be on a quarter note, you can just go like this. Let's have it be an octave up. So if you want to experiment with crazy things, but it requires, you can use iLock registering just your computer, so you don't have to have an iLock key. But so it's registration with audioplugindeals.com as well as eventide.com, and you need to have an iLock account. So those things are required to get this free plugin to work. So whether it's worth it to you or not, I'll leave that up to you guys to figure out if it's worth it or not. It was for me. I think I'm happy to have this as a free plugin to work with. But again, I have other things already on iLock, and some people don't really like the iLock system. You have to use the iLock system. There's no getting around it. So go to audioplugindeals.com. They have other radical deals of people just giving away stuff for almost free in a lot of cases. So you can check stuff out there. Yes, so you need the plugin, the audio plugins deal account. You need an Eventide account and an iLock account to get the free Quadravox. So it's a big grab for registrations and new users and all that kind of stuff, which is the way companies typically try to work. So that's okay. All right, I'm gonna wrap this one up. I've got a lot going on today, but thank you so much for joining. Any questions? It can drive you a little crazy if you have it set in a set. But putting pads through this and stuff is really cool, of course, because if we set up a nice pad, Mega Magic pads, let's say even Here's without it. So if you need something to be back and a little bit more stereo width, you could do that kind of stuff pretty easily. I think you can even go through and pan where things are. So you make it super wide. And there's a mix for input, output, and mix. So I could mix a little of the original. Here's without it. With it. All right. Well, nobody has questions, so we will wrap it up. Good. Glad to hear that people are impressed with Unify. It's really cool. So we've got more work to do. It will be November. We're hoping. But I kind of pushed the clock back a little bit to get the distortion abilities added. That took time away from other things we have to do inside before we release. But we're working very hard. Shane is working like crazy. I'm doing the owner's manual, which is really fun. So thank you for your support. Thanks for hanging. Yeah, if I wanted to just, let's see if I can do this without crashing. I could say add, Dex add a MIDI effect, doing a cool little riff, notes and chords together, and then have that control this. And let's go over here, add a delay. Let's add some unison chorus. And then let's add nice reverb. Let's take this down an octave. Now there's some qualities in the FM I'm not too happy with. So I'd go searching through here, I think 6. I can do this. That's better. Let's see what else we got going on here. We get some more velocity control. And maybe this isn't quite the right preset, so I can go over here. Now maybe it sounds better up an octave. Yeah. So I'll finish that up, but that's how you play with Unify. And then save it as a preset, and off you go. All right, thank you for joining me. Have a safe Halloween. Use Boombox and BreakTweaker and all that kind of stuff. Unify will be $59 when it comes out. It will be $79 when it's off its introductory price, like after the NAMM show, sometime probably like early February. And then after that, it never goes on sale again, because with my plugins, I've committed myself to not putting them on sale. There's no reason to do that. I'm pricing them super low so everybody can get it and be a happy customer with lots of cool stuff to play with. Instead of doing this where you price it really high and then you do 80% off, that's one business model, but I'm following Spectrasonics. They've never had a sale. I'm not going to have a sale on my plugins. Maybe on sound libraries for the plugins, we'll do all sorts of usual sales and discounts and stuff like that. The Pro version is going to probably be more, of course. I'm not going to talk about too much. For one thing, the Pro version will have a full-blown sampler with mapping and all that kind of stuff. Like you can multiple samples across the keyboard, multiple velocities, a display, other features and abilities, as well as other things that we're going to be implementing that are super cool and unique just to the Pro version. But that's a year off at least. Okay? Yeah, Unify Pro will be just have more like unique, cool sound design tools. Other stuff. We'll talk about that in a year, okay? I don't want to talk. I'm bad at talking about stuff already, and to talk about something that is not even, you know, we got to get the Unify standard out first. So standard is our priority. Okay. So thank you again for watching. I will see you all next week. We'll have more fun stuff to play with, I'm sure. Happy Halloween to all. Be well. Bye.